Is Kent Hughes about to complete his vision of building a team with Quebec soul by trading Patrick Lane to Nashville and bringing Jonathan Marchessault home to Montreal? The plan of Kent Hughes appears to be shifting from rebuild to identity. On Tuesday, December 30th, 2025, the Hockey News amplifies insider Chris Johnson's analysis from The Athletic, positioning the Montreal Canadiens as the perfect trade fit for winger Jonathan Marchessault. After repatriating Philip Danault, the Habs are now targeting another Quebec native with championship pedigree to reinforce the top six. But the price to realize this local dream might be the end of the Patrick Lane experiment. The mathematics is cold and unforgiving. Marchessault, despite having a below-average season in Nashville with 7 goals and 10 points in 28 games, brings something money cannot purchase: a Conn Smythe Trophy and the ability to elevate his game when it matters most. For a young team that wants to make noise in the 2026 playoffs, he's the ideal mentor. However, his $5.5 million contract requires salary cap space. The solution proposed by Johnson is sending Patrick Lane's hefty $8.7 million contract to the Predadors, who could accept the Finnish winger as a recovery project in exchange for shedding their long-term commitment to Marchessault. Let's examine why Marchessault makes sense beyond the emotional narrative. He's from Cap Rouge, Quebec. Playing at the Bell Center, wearing the Habs jersey, is his final dream. With a full no-movement clause, he controls his destination. If he says, "I'm only going to Montreal," Nashville has no leverage. They're forced to make a deal with the Habs or watch him sit out. That's organizational power. The leadership element is crucial. This roster is the youngest in the NHL. Having Danault and Marchessault in the locker room removes pressure from Nick Suzuki's shoulders. They've walked the path before. They know what it takes to win. They know how to handle playoff pressure. They know how to mentor young players through adversity. That's invaluable for organizational development. But there's a significant risk that can't be ignored. Marchessault is nearly 35 years old with a contract extending through 2029. That's a long-term commitment to a veteran in statistical decline. You're betting that his leadership and experience compensate for diminishing offensive production. You're betting that his presence in the locker room and on the ice translates to wins in meaningful games. That's not a guaranteed outcome. If this trade happens, it represents an admission that the Patrick Lane experiment hasn't worked as envisioned. Using Lane purely as a salary dump to facilitate another acquisition is deflating, but might be necessary if the objective is to fundamentally change the team's culture. Nashville, operating in sell mode after a poor start, could view Lane as an opportunity to add an elite goal scorer, if healthy, to play alongside Philip Forsberg. Or they could simply use him as a salary dump themselves, moving him again at the deadline. This is organizational philosophy on full display. The Canadiens are constructing a team that the fan base can be proud of, not just for the goals scored, but for the soul of the organization. Trading a talented mercenary like Lane for a local warrior like Marchessault is the type of move that electrifies a city. It's the type of move that creates identity and purpose beyond statistics. The question for Kent Hughes is whether that identity translates to playoff success. Whether having Danault, Marchessault, and Suzuki down the middle creates enough defensive stability and veteran leadership to compete. Whether the young offensive talents like Caulfield, Slavkovsky, and Demidoff can flourish with that structure around them. Tuesday brought another potential piece of the puzzle. The Quebec-Nashville connection is hotter than ever. If Hughes can orchestrate this deal, Montreal enters 2026 as a team with purpose, identity, and championship experience woven throughout the roster. That's not just a hockey team. That's a movement. Should the Canadiens trade Patrick Lane to acquire Jonathan Marchessault, or should they hold firm and keep their elite offensive weapons intact? Is local identity and proven leadership worth sacrificing a young, talented player? Drop your thoughts in the comments and hit that like button if you think Marchessault's return will be the emotional and tactical boost Montreal needs to compete in the Eastern Conference.